We're diving into something a bit different but incredibly practical. How to make your own alcohol when the supply chain breaks down. Stores are empty, or you're just tired of paying ridiculous prices for booze. Now, before we get started, let me be clear. This is educational content about fermentation, one of humanity's oldest food preservation techniques. I'm not encouraging anyone to break any laws about home brewing where prohibited, and always drink responsibly. That said, let's talk about turning ordinary fruit juice into something with a bit more kick, using just 3 simple ingredients that cost less than $5 total. That's right, just juice, sugar, and ordinary bread yeast. No fancy equipment, no special brewing knowledge, and no bearded hipster explaining why your palate isn't refined enough to appreciate their $15 thimble of craft IPA. Look, I'm a simple person. When society collapses, I'm not going to be worried about notes of elderberry or hints of oak in my drink. I just want something that works. First, let's talk about supplies. Here's what you'll need. Store-bought fruit juice. Regular white sugar. Ordinary bread yeast. That's it. No special airlocks, no brewing vessels, no hydrometers. Though I'll show you how those work later if you're curious about measuring alcohol content. The beauty of this method is we're using the original juice containers, which are already sanitized and perfect for our needs. Now, let's get down to business. I've got several juices here to demonstrate orange, apple, pineapple, and grape. First, you'll want to open your juice and drink or pour out about a cup to make room for the sugar and fermentation. Don't throw it away. Enjoy it now while it's still innocent and alcohol-free. The last innocent sip before we corrupt this juice into adult beverage territory. One important note, make sure you're using juice without preservatives. Check the ingredients list and avoid anything with potassium sorbate, sodium benzoate, or anything labeled as a preservative. Those chemicals are specifically designed to prevent what we're trying to do. They kill yeast and stop fermentation. Pasteurized juice is fine, actually preferred since we're starting with a clean slate but no preservatives. Next, add 1 cup of regular white sugar to each bottle. This is what the yeast will feast on to create alcohol. More sugar generally means more potential alcohol, but there are limits to what regular bread yeast can tolerate. You might think, why add sugar when juice already has sugar? Good question. The additional sugar boosts the potential alcohol content. Without it, you might end up with something closer to 5 to 6% ABV. With our added sugar, we can hit 10 to 12% or more, similar to wine. Getting the sugar into the bottle can be tricky. I tried using a funnel the first time, and it was a disaster. Sugar doesn't flow like liquid. I find it easier to just carefully pour it in directly. Now, secure the cap and shake vigorously until all the sugar dissolves. This might take a minute or 2. Look at the bottom of the bottle to make sure no sugar is settling there. We want it completely dissolved. Now for the magic ingredient, yeast. These microscopic fungi are about to become our tiny alcohol-producing workforce. Don't overthink this part. You don't need special brewing yeast, though it works great if you have it. Regular bread yeast from the baking aisle does the job perfectly. 1 packet can make multiple batches, so this 5-pack for $1.50 will last me dozens of brews. Add about half a teaspoon of yeast to each bottle. No need for precise measurement here. A little goes a long way. The yeast will multiply as the fermentation process begins. After adding the yeast, put the cap back on and gently shake to distribute it throughout the juice. Here's where people often think brewing gets complicated, but we're keeping it simple. You need to create an environment where yeast can expel carbon dioxide, or it will explode. Outside bacteria and wild yeasts can't get in. Fancy brewers use airlocks and specialized equipment, but we have a straightforward solution. Simply tighten the cap, then unscrew it just a tiny bit. Just enough that pressure can escape, but not so loose that the cap falls off. When fermentation gets going, the pressure will push out, preventing anything from getting in. If you're really concerned, you can use a balloon with a pinhole over the top instead of the cap. But honestly, the loose cap method has never failed me. Place your bottle somewhere warm. 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit is ideal. Warmer temperatures speed up fermentation, while cooler slows it down. Just don't go over 90 degrees Fahrenheit, or you might stress the yeast. I like to put mine here on this shelf, out of direct sunlight but in a warm spot. Now we wait. It's been about 24 hours, and check this out. See those bubbles? That's fermentation in action. Our yeast friends are happily converting sugar into alcohol and carbon dioxide. This bubbling is exactly what we want to see. Some juices ferment more vigorously than others. Notice how the apple and pineapple are really going crazy, while the orange is a bit more subdued. That's completely normal and depends on acidity, natural sugar content, and other factors. We're at day 5 now, and you can see things are calming down. The pineapple is still bubbling slowly, while the apple seems to have stopped altogether. This is where patience comes in. Fermentation can take anywhere from 5 to 14 days depending on temperature, juice type, and how much sugar was added. If you're not seeing any activity after 3 to 4 days, like with this apple juice here, you might have had dead yeast or preservatives in the juice. In that case, you can try adding another half teaspoon of yeast to kickstart things. Remember, we're looking for the bubbling to completely stop before we consider it done. That means the yeast has consumed all the available sugar and converted it to alcohol. It's been 9 days, and our orange, pineapple, and grape juices have all stopped bubbling. Let's taste our creations. When pouring, be careful with the sediment at the bottom. That's mostly dead yeast and fruit particles. It won't hurt you, but it doesn't taste great. Pour slowly and stop before you get to the sediment. If you want a clearer drink, you can refrigerate the bottle for 24 hours before pouring. This helps the sediment compact even more at the bottom. Look at that beautiful amber color. Let's give it a taste. Wow, that's got a serious kick. It still tastes like orange juice, but with a definite alcoholic warmth. It's like having a screwdriver, vodka, and orange juice, but with a more integrated flavor since the alcohol developed within the juice itself. The pineapple has a tropical, almost rum-like quality to it. Delicious. And the grape? This is surprising. It's basically wine. Not fancy wine, mind you, but absolutely drinkable homemade wine that cost about $2 to make. For those curious about the actual alcohol content, you can use a hydrometer like this one. I measured our orange juice creation and it came out to be 12.3% ABV. That's comparable to commercial wine, which typically ranges from 11 to 14% alcohol. Think about that. This bottle of commercial wine cost me $8, while our homemade orange wine costs less than $2 and is nearly the same strength. That's impressive. Let's recap what we've learned. You can make alcohol with just juice, sugar, and yeast. No special equipment needed, just the juice bottle itself. Fermentation takes 7 to 14 days depending on conditions. The result is a 10 to 12% ABV beverage similar to wine. Total cost is under $2 per bottle. In survival situations or when commercial alcohol is unavailable or unaffordable, this simple skill could be incredibly valuable. Plus, there's something satisfying about making your own beverages from scratch. One important safety note: what we've made here is fermented, not distilled. These are more like wines or ciders, not spirits. Never attempt to distill alcohol at home without proper equipment and knowledge that can be extremely dangerous. Also, if your brew develops any mold, unusual smells, or strange colors, dump it out. Better be safe than sorry. I hope you have enjoyed this practical guide to simple home fermentation. If you want more survival skills videos, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what other self-sufficiency topics you'd like me to cover. Until next time, remember, knowledge is the ultimate survival tool, and sometimes that knowledge involves turning ordinary juice into extraordinary beverages. Stay prepared, my friends.